Mother was arrested for placing cameras in her backyard. Was she unlawfully arrested and booked? Location, Missouri. My mom has been battling a property line dispute with her neighbors at a new house she's moving into. They have been parking and placing their dumpster on a corner piece of the property. She finally won the case in court, but they continued to let their dogs come over to her yard and poop, and etc. So my mom placed cameras all around her house, something she has done for all her properties and her previous house. So this is nothing new to her, and she was going to do this regardless. But the lawyer that was helping said to get footage of their dogs and them crossing the property line just to help in a further case battle. So anyway, she does this, and the neighbors call the sheriff office. Neighbor personally knows one of the sheriffs, possibly a family member. The cop proceeded to tell my mom she couldn't place cameras that faced their property. However, it's in public view and wasn't faced anywhere near a bathroom window or bedroom. The front of their house literally faces the right side of my mom's house. So any cameras just look at their front of house. Like a Ring camera would. Mind you, all the other neighbors also have cameras around their houses and property. My mom argued and didn't believe the officer, so he arrested her without very much explanation and brought her to the office. Then released her with no charges or without really saying anything. She was never booked. It seemed like he arrested her and brought her to the office as an intimidation tactic. He never charged her with anything. He literally said my mom couldn't have cameras on her property and she refused, so he arrested her. Then just let her go at the sheriff's office. No charges, no bail or anything. Did he really just unlawfully arrest my mother? Thank you. Edit. Current lawyer has a conflict of interest clarification. She was handcuffed, placed in the back of a cruiser and driven to the station. It was a book and release. Picture taken and prints taken. My stepdad had to pick her up. The deputy told her that she would receive more info in the mail afterwards. We couldn't find anything to verify this arrest or that anything was filed. He didn't say what she was charged with at release. Comments.
Oh, that cop just screwed up big time. Especially if those cameras captured this interaction. You mentioned she had a lawyer helping her. This story needs to be given to him. He recommended her to a criminal attorney, I think. He wasn't much help. Edit. Her lawyer works for the same county as the deputy, so it's conflict of interest from what the lawyer said. She needs a civil rights attorney. The deputy clearly violated her rights. The problem is they often get away with it. But at the bare minimum, he'll have a paper trail of it now. Honestly, she's going to need both. Just on the off chance they do find something bullshit to charge her with. Have to beat the criminal charges before you can file the civil suit.
My coworker is falsifying patient records and my floor supervisor told me to let it go. What are my legal obligations? Location, Ohio. I'm an RN at a mid-sized hospital. About 6 weeks ago I noticed something off in a patient's chart. A colleague I've worked with for years had documented administering a specific medication at a time when I know with certainty she wasn't on shift. I initially assumed it was a clerical mistake. Over the next few weeks I saw the same pattern multiple times. Same person, same type of entries, always involving controlled substances. I brought this to my floor supervisor 2 weeks ago. She listened, said the matter was being looked into internally, and then yesterday pulled me aside and told me it probably wasn't worth pursuing. That documentation errors happen. That making formal complaints could complicate things for the unit. I don't believe these are errors. The pattern is too deliberate. My questions: if I report this directly to the Ohio Board of Nursing or another external agency without going through internal channels first, can the hospital legally retaliate against me? Is there any whistleblower protection that applies here? And at what point does knowing about this and not reporting it externally create legal exposure for me personally? I'm not trying to get anyone fired. I just want to understand what I'm actually obligated to do here. Comments.
If you carry your own professional liability insurance, you may already be paying for a few hours of legal advice per year. I would check into that as a possible place to start. Their usual purpose is questions around and within professional liability/responsibility and specific professional ethics. It's common in the fields I'm familiar with to carry your own, even if your employer has you insured. Sometimes when a floor supervisor overlooks substances being illegally put into a chart, they aren't on it. Wife has been an RN for over 20 years and has reported med diversion before. I work in IT and did healthcare IT and an epic implementation for a large regional health system. Not a lawyer. Both federal and state whistleblower laws protect you from retaliation when you report waste, fraud, abuse, or criminal activity. Make sure you document everything that has happened so far as best you can, with dates and names you can remember, and document everything going forward when it happens, or as close as reasonable to keep your memory fresh. MRNs might be a good idea, but just having XMed was charted at Y time by Z person is enough for your EMR team. Proving that it was retaliation can be hard without a solid paper trail. The first step in reporting is to notify your direct supervisor. That your supervisor is both blowing it off and coming back with a could complicate things for the unit is suspicious as hell. It does look bad for them in a failure to supervise your subordinates way, but it may not be more nefarious than I've been faking my chart audits as opposed to I'm helping my friend steal Vicodin. Either way, time to go up the chain. Your facility should have some kind of medication diversion investigation/prevention team. If it's not a standalone team, it's likely part of pharmacy. If you've made the report to your supervisor, I would recommend reaching out to either your supervisor's boss, manager-director-chief nursing officer depending on your org structure, or reach out to pharmacy and straight out ask for the diversion investigation contact information. If your org is large enough, you may also have an ombudsman's office you can reach out to for guidance. If they're diverting medication, they are going to get caught eventually through pharmacy discrepancy reports and auditing. Kinda surprised they haven't already.
Local municipality demolished my private retaining wall by mistake and is claiming government immunity. Do I have any recourse? Location, Colorado. Last week I came home from work to find a massive backhoe in my yard. The city water department was doing emergency pipe repairs. I understand they have a utility easement for the first few feet of my property near the street. However, the crew dug way beyond the easement line. They completely demolished a stone retaining wall that was 20 feet away. When I confronted the foreman, he admitted they read the plat map wrong and thought the main pipe went straight through my garden. Now the work is done, but my yard is a massive crater. I filed a claim with the City Risk Management Office. Today I received a formal letter stating that because the initial issue was a water emergency, they have sovereign immunity and are not liable for any collateral damage, even if they dug in the wrong spot. Contractors quoted me a fortune to rebuild the wall and stabilize the hill. Should I file a civil lawsuit against the city or contact my homeowner's insurance first? Comments.
They do have sovereign immunity, specifically only inside of the utility easement. Anything damaged inside a utility easement, they generally have no requirement to repair. Anything outside the easement, they are required to act reasonably or repair the damage. So if you're 100% sure it was outside the utility easement, you're going to need a survey of your property just to confirm. The local municipality already said no, so now you're looking at a real estate attorney. You're going to have to file a claim with Jaya. Just bear in mind Jaya claims you have 180 days after damage to file, and the town has 90 days to respond before you can file a suit, and you must ask for the exact monetary amount for repairs inside the claim. This is incredibly helpful. The wall is 20 feet back, and the easement is only 5 feet, so I am positive it is outside. I actually have a survey plat map from when I bought the house. Hope that works. I will look for a lawyer tomorrow. I work in this field, and the organization I work for, Gov, would not have denied this claim. Sovereign immunity does not protect them from negligence claims, which this is. If it's as expensive as you say, it's likely a bargaining tactic to lower the inevitable settlement and a dick move. You can try contacting an elected representative for this organization and giving them the details. Sometimes that can be enough. Otherwise, yes, contact a lawyer. Sorry you're dealing with this. You may also be able to attend a city council meeting and speak during the citizen comment section of the meeting. Bring pictures and diagrams. Any local elected official is going to think that this needs to be fixed by the city. Ask when they are going to repair it. It's uncomfortable for them when you put them on the spot, so they are going to look at the city manager, who is then going to feel pressure to make this right. It's likely to be covered by the local media at this point, so it can't just be swept under the rug. I would do this before getting a lawyer involved because there is no cost.
My deceased dad's wife is trying to claim his life insurance even though he changed the beneficiary to me 6 months before he died. She's threatening to sue. Location, Florida. This has been going on for 2 months and I'm just exhausted at this point. My dad passed in January. He had a $200,000 life insurance policy through MetLife. Back in July of last year he updated the beneficiary from his wife, they were married 4 years, not my mom, to me. I have the confirmation letter. MetLife confirmed the change was processed, everything looks legitimate. My dad and his wife had been having serious problems, she knew it too. He never filed for divorce but they were basically separated under the same roof. He told me directly he was changing it and why. MetLife already approved the claim and I received the payout last month. I used part of it to cover funeral costs which she refused to split, and put the rest in savings alongside with the take money for now because this whole thing felt off from the start. Now she has an attorney sending letters saying she intends to sue me claiming my dad lacked mental capacity when he made the change and that I unduly influenced him. He was 61, had type 2 diabetes, no dementia, no psychiatric history, was still working full-time when he made the change. The undue influence claim is insane to me because I live in a different state. I saw him maybe 4 times that year. We were close but it wasn't like I was his caretaker or had any control over his life. Do these claims have any actual legal merit or is this just a scare tactic from a grieving woman with a lawyer? Should I get an attorney now before this goes further or wait to see if she actually files anything? Comments.
The attorney drafting her letters is probably checked. You can look up their address on the letterhead and give them a ring to verify. Make sure to use the number you find online, not the one in the letter. Actually, I would call both. If she is misrepresenting a law firm, she could end up charged criminally, which would be her just dessert. 2 phone calls would end it all. Actually, 3, 1 to the prosecutor or DA. Please note, do not use the phone number listed on the letter to give the attorney a call. Look them up online or in the state's licensing information. Then call them. Do not ask about the lawsuit. Ask them, is Dad's wife your client? Or do you represent Dad's wife? That's it.
Toyota dealer baited me into a 4-hour drive for a Goodwill repair on a gold-certified Prius. Just hit me with a $2,000 bill and the service manager told me, let's talk like adults. Don't let a comprehensive inspection fool you. On May 6, 2026, I bought a 2017 Prius, 63.5k miles, from a certified Toyota dealer. The vehicle was sold as Toyota Gold certified. Within days, I found an active mouse nest, a failing 12V battery, and a check engine light. PSA for buyers: always pull the actual service history via Toyota's owner's portal before buying. I learned this the hard way. The hidden history: the Carfax only showed a gas cap replacement and minor collision history, but when I pulled the internal Toyota records, I found out why the check engine light came on 250 miles after purchase, right before I bought it. Another dealership diagnosed an EVAP leak, P1422, and traced it to a fuel pump issue via a smoke test. It was sold to me with no proof that the actual root cause was repaired. None of this was disclosed. Toyota's internal records also showed a prior history of rodent damage. I spent 10 minutes looking under the hood and found a nest still sitting right there. Somehow, this car passed a 160-point gold certified inspection. I already had to fight them tooth and nail to get these initial issues covered: fuel pump and charcoal canister, the safety systems, and the 4-hour bait and switch. Shortly after purchase, Toyota safety sense began to fail intermittently: pre-collision, radar cruise, lane assist. I noticed the front Toyota emblem appears to be the standard raised style, not the smooth, radar transparent emblem required for these systems. The dealer completely dismissed the emblem. Instead, they claimed it was likely a faulty forward recognition camera. After going back and forth, the service manager told me that if I made the 4-hour drive to their dealership, they would replace the camera under Goodwill. I made the drive and dropped the car off. They called me with the verdict on Monday: it's the camera overheating and they're submitting it under a Platinum Plan warranty even though I have gold. I didn't hear anything Tuesday and assumed all was well. Well, they called me back today. Turns out they are reneging on the Goodwill repair. They want $2,000 out of pocket for the repair. When I pushed back and reminded them of our explicit agreement to get me in the door, the service manager was incredibly rude, condescending, and actually told me, let's talk like adults. Where I am at now, I have a gold-certified car with compromised safety systems, a dealer who lied to get me to drive 4 hours, and a $2,000 ransom bill on a vehicle that never should have passed certification in the first place. I've escalated to Toyota corporate brand engagement, considering BBB paperwork due to the arbitration contract I signed, and I am considering drafting my complaint to the Wisconsin Attorney General. Questions: the dealer said the camera was physically hot to hold. To my understanding, once that camera is removed from the housing, recalibration is required. Unfortunately, I don't have enough money for the repair, but the system was working intermittently. Now the safety features may not work at all if the calibration is off. Has anyone successfully forced a dealer to honor a promised Goodwill repair after a bait and switch like this? Shouldn't a failed safety camera or an incorrect radar component be fully covered under the Toyota CPO comprehensive warranty anyway? How did this vehicle even manage to get gold certification? If I would have known about the prior history of rodent damage, I would not have bought the car. When I questioned the sales department about the history of the vehicle, they told me they don't look at the service records for active issues, only fix what can be seen. So my question really is, how does the arbitration process usually go in IL? Location: Illinois. Dealer location: Wisconsin. Comments:
Worked for a 125 auto dealership here in the USA investigating fraud. I'd suggest you contact Toyota USA. They award dealership franchises. State your case. Show relevant evidence. Dealerships fear them more than courts. A dealership can ignore one customer. They can't easily ignore the manufacturer that grants their franchise. Keep escalating through Toyota and document everything. Totally agree. I had a warranty dispute with a Toyota dealership I did all my business with. We went back and forth for 2 weeks on it, getting nowhere. I called Toyota USA, and the dealership manager contacted me directly with a few days of my complaint and got it resolved. Edit: it doesn't specifically include or exclude the camera. Sounds like it is free to repair if the camera failed. Covers any repair or replacement of components which fail under normal use due to a defect in materials or workmanship. $0 deductible on any repair or replacement of a covered component. 2017 wouldn't qualify for gold CPO in 2026. What documentation do you have that shows its CPO status? From Toyota. Coverage begins from the date of purchase. Gold certification covers 7 years or 100,000 total vehicle miles, whichever comes first. Let's say you somehow found a very late production 2017 that didn't get sold until 2018. 7 years is 2025. More likely it entered service late 2016, early 2017, so cutoff would have been even earlier.
Major telecom company laid a fiber optic line straight through my private lot without an easement. Now they are threatening to sue me if I build my house. Location, Georgia, USA. I purchased a vacant residential lot last year with plans to build a home. We finally got our permits and the excavation team started digging the foundation last week. 2 days ago, the excavator uncovered a massive bundle of fiber optic cables buried about 4 feet down, running directly through the center of my lot where the house is supposed to go. I halted work immediately and called the local utility marking service. They confirmed the lines belong to a major national telecom provider. I spent hours on the phone with them, and their engineering department eventually sent a representative to the site. They checked their records and admitted there is absolutely no easement recorded for my parcel. Apparently, they laid these lines 10 years ago and just took a shortcut through this vacant land instead of running them along the road. Instead of offering a solution, their legal department sent me an emergency cease and desist letter yesterday. They claim that this line serves over 15,000 households and businesses in the area, including a local hospital. They are warning me that if my construction causes any disruption, they will hold me liable for millions of dollars in damages. I cannot build my house without moving these lines, but the telecom company says relocating them will cost over $100,000 and they expect me to pay for it. This seems completely insane since they are trespassing on my property. What are my legal rights here? Can I force them to move their equipment at their own expense, or am I stuck with a useless piece of land? Comments.
Make sure to talk to your attorney about prescriptive easement laws in Georgia. In your state, a utility company might try to claim they have a right to stay there because the lines have been in place for 10 years. However, for a prescriptive easement to form, the use has to be open and notorious. Since these lines were buried 4 feet underground and completely unmapped, they were hidden from view. There is no way they can argue you or the previous owner should have known they were there. This is a clear case of trespass, and they are completely liable for the relocation costs. Luckily, in Georgia, prescriptive easements require at minimum 20 years of continuous use. However, the 20 years runs on the property regardless of who the owner currently is. Open, continuous, exclusive, adversarial, and notorious. The 5 components of prescriptive easements. You need to contact a real estate litigation attorney immediately, but your very first phone call should be to your title insurance company. When you purchase the property, you got title insurance to protect against precisely this kind of undisclosed encumbrance. Let their massive legal team fight the telecom company for you. The cease and desist letter is a classic bullying tactic because they know they are completely in the wrong here. They literally admitted to trespassing on your private land without a legal agreement. Do not pay them a single penny for their mistake. In addition, contact the municipality that governs your location, city or county. They usually control the easements and enforcement. This will usually be the public works or planning department. They will usually contact the company and let them know they have X days to move their lines. The title company's policy requires them to fight this on your behalf. You may also want to seek delay damages and other remedies from the telco.
My neighbor's tree fell on my car and now his insurance is trying to make me pay for the damage to his fence. Location, Washington State. The tree was dead. Like visibly, obviously dead. I have photos from over a year ago where you can clearly see it had no leaves, the bark was falling off, and one of the main branches was already split. I sent my neighbor a certified letter last October asking him to remove it because it was leaning toward the parking area where I keep my car. He never responded. Last month during a windstorm it came down. Landed directly on my car, totaled it. Also took out a section of his own fence on the way down. My insurance covered my car minus the deductible and is pursuing subrogation against him. That part seems to be moving fine. The problem is his homeowner's insurance contacted me last week claiming I'm partially liable for the fence damage because my certified letter may have contributed to his awareness of the risk and that by not following up more aggressively I share some responsibility for the outcome. I have never heard anything like this in my life. They're asking me to sign a document acknowledging shared causation. I obviously have not signed anything. My neighbor has not spoken to me since this happened. We have lived next to each other for 6 years. Do I have any actual legal exposure here? Can an insurance company really argue that warning someone about a hazard makes you partially responsible for what happens when they ignore it? And should I get my own attorney involved before this goes further, or is this the kind of thing I can handle by just not responding? Comments.
This is one of the wildest things I have heard regarding a letter from a homeowner's insurance company. Right up front, you are not liable, and you did not contribute to anything in this situation. You are not legally responsible in any way for what another homeowner does on their property. Furthermore, you are the only person that took a proactive step to try and mitigate this. You sent the letter. Do not sign anything from them. They have absolutely no legal grounds for any of this. The best step here is to contact your insurance, as you already have a claim open, and let them know you were contacted with this crazy demand. Honestly, your insurance probably will not do anything until the other insurance company actually sues you, so you just want them to document it for now. If you do get sued, which I think would be crazy for them to try, at that point turn it over to your insurance, and they will handle it for you. It definitely smells like intimidation. The certified letter probably pissed them off because this guy ignored it, and now they're on the hook for damages due to this guy's negligence/laziness. Yes, the certified letter helps OP's insurance subrogation claim, as a tree falling typically is only subrogatable if the tree was a known hazard like a dead tree. The certified letter gives very strong evidence of this. I think their insurance tried to get OP to sign this letter admitting partial fault to fight the subrogation claim. Really dirty tactic. I think their insurance tried to get OP to sign this letter admitting partial fault to fight the subrogation claim.
My HOA banned and trespassed my roofers mid-project. What recourse do I have? Location, Florida, unincorporated Miami-Dade County. I live in an HOA community. Before any exterior work is done, I'm required to submit a form to the HOA. It's pretty basic: what's being done, who's the vendor, and what's their license number. At the bottom of the form is a statement: community has a no solicitation policy. Vendors are not allowed to place yard signs, leave leaflets, or advertise directly to residents. Both the vendor and I had to sign the form. The roofer demoed my roof on Friday. While they were doing that, the owner started ringing doorbells and offering to replace neighbors' roofs. The HOA rep came out and told him that if he didn't stop, the company wouldn't be allowed to work in the community in the future. The owner got caught again on Tuesday, refused to leave voluntarily, and the police were called. He's now banned from the community. He pulled his workers, and my roof isn't done. I've got black tarp paper only. I asked for a refund, but he told me that since he's not able to complete the work for reasons outside of his control, I'm not entitled to one. I asked the HOA to compensate me, and they told me that because the roofer violated the no solicitation policy, it's his own fault and I need to take it up with him. Meanwhile, hurricane season is approaching and I don't have shingles. What recourse do I have? Comments.
You have a breach of contract claim against the roofer. You will need to hire a lawyer to make certain that you protect your rights, while you hire another roofer to complete the job and to seek compensation from the first contractor. You have a mess. You need an attorney. Lawyer. But my response to roofer would be bullshit. Circumstances were within your control. You solicited, were told to stop, and you chose to do it again. But get a lawyer and do what they say. They probably threatened to sue everybody. Definitely a lawyer is needed. Your contractor signed a contract with your HOA and went against it anyways. Since he broke their contract, that caused him to be banned. He needs to pay up.